right, so there's one day my senior year of high school that I've never forgotten. And I remember this day because my mom and I were arguing, and we just never argued. So I don't remember now how or why the argument even started, but I remember it had us standing in the kitchen arguing about money. So there on the kitchen table laid my new student orientation package with a form that asked us to send $300 to reserve my spot. Now, $300 may not sound like a lot of money, especially in comparison to, say, a semester of college, but to us, $300 was just a lot of money. So at some point during the argument, my mom saw that form on the table, and when she did, she went to the table, grabbed it, and threw it in the trash and said, "You just can't go to college." You see, going to college wasn't the norm in my family, so this led me to question, well, what if going to college became the norm in my family? And then later, as I grew older, I began to question, well, what if more of us started doing things that were a little outside the norm of our families? So as I was researching this talk, I came across a man named Carl Fred Broderick, who is a family and marriage therapist. In the early 1990s, he coined the term transitional character. A transitional character is someone who, in a single generation, changes the entire course of a lineage. These individuals usually grow up in abusive, emotionally destructive environments and somehow metabolizes the poison and refuses to pass this on to their children. So as I was thinking about this, I came to the realization that there's really no such thing as a perfect family. And so if there's no such thing as a perfect family, then that means there's ways we can all better our family. So that led me to our talk today. So a family generation changer is similar to a transitional character, but it's someone who, regardless of the environment they grew up in, strives to change a situation or an idea that's been passed on from generation to generation. So being a family generation changer can mean something completely different to me than it does to you, because it's dependent on our family. So it might mean being the first one to be in a successful marriage, or it might mean being the first one to actually break that alcoholic cycle in your family, or it can mean being the first one to attend college. Now, when we think about impacting the world, we have a tendency of focusing on solutions to those global issues like solving world hunger, or providing clean water, or world peace. And keep in mind, these are all very important issues that we should continue to try to come up with solutions to. But the question is how do we move from the what if conference today to solving these world issues? So often the steps in between are the most important steps. And I think that sometimes these are the steps that we try to rush through or try to skip altogether because we feel like they're not making a big enough impact. But Mother Teresa stated, if you can't feed 100, feed one. So I get that we should all try to do what we can with what we have, and each of us have the choice to impact the lives of our family. So sometimes that we can make the biggest impact by starting with our family. It takes just one person to initiate that change. And it's being a family generation changer creates opportunities for you and your family that may not have otherwise existed. And it's those opportunities that set the stage for you and your family to make the biggest impact on the world. And it might be those opportunities that set the stage for you and your family to work on those solutions to those global issues. So being a family generation changer isn't easy, and I think a lot of times people don't go after it because they don't know how to. They don't know how to start. So in my talk today, I just want to suggest 5 ways that you can start becoming a family generation changer. And keep in mind, this isn't the only way to get there, but this is just a start. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to make the decision. You need to decide to be a generation changer for your family. And be committed to it, because if you're not committed to it, it's going to be very hard to see it through. And keep in mind that when you decide to become a family generation changer, it's going to create resistance. And a lot of times this resistance can come from your family, and it can come from your friends. Keep in mind that doesn't mean that your family is trying to hurt you intentionally or that they don't want to see you be successful. That just means, sometimes change is scary. So keep in mind in life there's going to be many people who tell you what you're trying to achieve is not possible. But Bill Crosby said, I don't know what the key to success is, but the key to failure is trying to please everyone. So know that it's impossible to make every single person happy. So stop wasting so much of your time and energy worrying about what other people are thinking of you, and instead push all your negativity out, all that negativity out, and just focus on your dreams. The next thing you should focus on is you should set goals. The most successful people in life are those who set goals and develop clear action plans. You want to make sure your goals are smart, and what I mean by that is you want your goals to be specific. Identify exactly what it is that you're trying to accomplish. You also want to make them measurable, so you always want to quantify your results. You want to know that without a doubt you've met your goals. Your goals should also be action-oriented, so when you're writing down your goals, use action verbs such as study or attend instead of those to-be verbs. You also want your goals to be realistic, but keep in mind that a good goal is a goal that stretches you. So after you've written your goals, if you're not uncomfortable, you need to think bigger. And also, you want your goals to be time-bound. A goal without a deadline is just a dream, so always put a date associated with your goals. Always write your goals down and then revisit them often. The next thing you want to do is you always want to read. We live in a time where we have endless amounts of information at our fingertips. So if you want to be the first one to go to college, do your research. Or if you want to be that person to be in the first successful marriage in your family, read articles on successful marriages. There's a book on just about anything out there. So become an expert in what you're striving to do or become. And reading is such a powerful tool, so use it. You also want to find a mentor, especially if you don't have that support group in your life. Know what you want in a mentor and start looking for one. But keep in mind that not every person that you ask to be your mentor is going to agree to do that, and that's okay. That doesn't mean what you're trying to do isn't worth it. It just means that they're not the right mentor for you. So keep looking, and once you do, don't be afraid to ask them questions. A good mentor offers encouragement, provides directions, and discovers opportunities. And finally, the most important way to start becoming a generation changer for your family is to never give up. Remember that change starts with one, so don't give up. Because if you give up, you're not going to have your story to tell. So you know what I did that day my mom threw that paper away? I immediately went over to the trash can, pulled it out, and I said, I don't care what anyone says, I am going to college. Looking back, I did not understand the impact of that statement that day. But that day literally changed my life forever. It was that day and in that moment that I made the decision that regardless of the struggles or the resistance that was in my future, and let me tell you, there was quite a few, that I was going to go to college. Now, my mom's extremely proud of me and everything I've accomplished, but I think at the time it was just easier for her to tell me that I couldn't go to college rather than her to tell me she didn't have the money for me to go to college. So, to quickly wrap up, just remember that just because this is the life you have doesn't mean this is the life you've been given. And what I mean by that is I think too often we settle in our lives because we feel like we're not smart enough or we can't do enough or we can't be enough to change those situations in our families and the situations in our life. But remember that we all have choices, and today the choice is yours. You're always stronger than you think you are, so push yourself and use your success in life to impact the lives of your family and impact the lives of others. So in my family, it started with me, and today it starts with you. Thank you.